blowing up right now, and it's because his beats sound nothing like regular trap. That jerk style bounce hits completely different, and there's one thing with his arrangements that most producers don't even think about. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what sets his beats apart and show you how to make them completely from scratch. Let's open up a new Ableton project and get right into it. For this beat, I'm going to set my BPM to 195 and then use a scale of D sharp minor. Esdeekid beats are super simple and have minimal elements. So start by drawing in a simple top line melody. Now you can see that I utilized a lot of half steps, which keeps this melody a little darker. Now on a new track, I'll make a simple chord that I can layer all the way across. So I'm going to use this root note of D sharp, and then I'm going to duplicate that up, and then duplicate that up again. And I think this middle note is muddying everything up, so I'm going to delete those. I like that. And then I'm going to grab the root notes and duplicate them down an octave. And then what if I duplicate them up an octave as well? You can see that sounds really dark and gritty. Esdeekid's beats have super gritty and digital sounds, so now I'm going to look for some type of synth sound that can give the same energy. I think that one sounds pretty good, nice and gritty. So I'm going to grab an EQ, and then I'm going to try to make a little pocket for that to sit in. And then I'm going to add a reverb to that as well. Now I'm going to duplicate that and see if we can find some more gritty sounds to layer in. And I found this really cool sound in form. And now I want to duplicate my chords. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to delete the root notes. And then I'm going to delete the second octave. So we just have the power chords. And then I'm going to try to find a really digital sounding string that I could layer in. I found this really nice string patch in analog strings. And I just turned off the rhythm. And I turned off the layer filter effects. And then I'm going to open up my EQ, and then I'm going to filter out the lows. And I think I'm going to boost these highs a little bit too. And then now I'm going to duplicate this whole arrangement. And I only want these strings to be in the second half. And then I also pitch the top line up an octave. Even though his beats would probably stop here, I want to make it a little more unique. So I'm going to try to find a texture to layer in. For this, I'm going to use Co-Producer by Output. If you're not familiar with Co-Producer, it's a crazy tool that can listen to your track and take a text prompt to find sounds that fit exactly what you're looking for. So I'm going to select my key, which is D sharp minor, but in this case, I'm going to have to choose E flat minor. And then you hit Capture Audio and play your loop back. And then let's say, gritty texture for underground trap. And let's see what it can come up with. This one's crazy. It sounds almost exactly like our beat. So I'm going to drag this one into a new audio track. That's crazy! What? Okay. And you can see how easy that was. It took seconds to come up with a really good texture. It's literally a game changer. And then I think I'm going to go through one more time and try to find a vocal. Spooky, filtered, underground vocal. We're just going to steal this part here. Get rid of that. I think I like this. So let's drag this over here. And then let's add the whole thing in the second half. And now I'm going to drag a reverb on top of that. And then we're going to roll off a lot of those highs. then finally, I'm going to grab this little piece here, and then I'm going to drag this over. Bring it down a little more, and then maybe what we'll do is we'll open up our automation, and then we'll click on our gain. And I think we'll kind of open this up a tiny bit as it gets to the end. I think this is sounding pretty good, and I really don't want to overdo the melody. So I'm going to start layering in some drums. And if you know me, I like to start with the snare to get the bounce going. To start, I'm going to find a good trap snare from my Raven drum kit. I like this one a lot, so I'm going to drag that into my drum rack, and then I'm going to add that on every third beat. And now if you really listen closely to some of Esdeekid's beats, you can hear that he adds an EDM or dubstep style snare to layer in. So I found this one in my Laser Dice expansion for Machine. And now to get that bounce, a good counter snare pattern is crucial. So I'm going to go back into the kit. So I'm going to try this one. I have this roll here, so I'm going to highlight those. And then I'm going to use this ramp control in the bottom velocity editor to make those swell up. And now to keep it unique and add to the bounce a little bit, I think I'm going to layer in some percussion. So to start, I really like this shaker, so I'm going to drag that in. And then maybe we'll use this vocal shot. I like that, so I'll duplicate that across. And then let's add that vocal in. And now for the 808. Obviously, I want something that's super gritty and distorted. I think this one could be pretty good, so let's give this a try. And these need to be super simple. For these types of beats, it's the sound that jumps out, not the pattern. And then now to get some more distortion, I'm going to come down and drag my gain slider up and boost that in to get a little bit of grit. Yeah, that's good. And now just to spice it up a little bit, I'm going to find a different 808, maybe something a little deeper to make a secondary pattern that has a little more energy. And then for this one, I'm going to switch to classic mode because I want it to stop and I don't want it to overlap. And now finally, I want to find a kick to add some punch. Let's try this one. That sounds really good, but I'm going to bring my mixer up, and I think I'm going to bring that kick down just a touch. By the way, I've been working on my Grim Trap bundle for a few months now, and it's almost ready for release. Head over to djcontour.com to sign up for the waitlist and get a hefty launch day discount. This is my first ever trap suite that has over 1,000 samples in it, including these drums, melodies, one-shots, phrases, and effects. This bundle's no joke, so it'll be perfect for anyone looking to level up their trap beats. I'll leave a link in the description as well. I think this beat's sounding super sick, so let's go through and do a quick arrangement. I know that I want this secondary 808 pattern to be in the next half, so I'm going to drag that over. And I think I'm also going to change that drum pattern to fit that as well. So in the first one, I'm just going to do on every first beat. We're going to drag that over for our intro. And I think I'm going to keep our synth layer 1 octave all the way across. And then I'm going to use our chords in the second part. And then copy that across too. And then for the verse, I'm going to duplicate this first section To start, I think we're going to get rid of the texture, and then we can duplicate our hook across this. And then now we can duplicate that over a couple times. To transition from the verse to the hook, I'm going to drop out that final 808, and then I'm also going to drop out the final kick drum. And I think I'm also going to get rid of the kick in the verses. And then now I think for the second half of the verses, I'm going to drop out the synth leads as well. And then for the final hook, I think I'm just going to duplicate this last section. And this sounds really good, but we're missing the key to what makes Esdeekid's beats hit really, really hard. He utilizes a lot of silence breaks in his melody to really chop it up and add that really gritty feeling. So I'm going to grab our last bar and delete all of the melody. And I'm going to do that all the way down. And you can feel how that really breaks it up and adds a lot of tension. It's better. And now finally, I think I'm going to add some quick transitions and risers to help signal the changes between verse and hook. Okay, so let's do this one, and I'll do it up here. Copy that across again, and we'll add one more for this final section. Dude, that's so good. And I think I want to do a riser as well. Let's do this one. This one sounds good. And I'm going to start here. And then I'll copy these across to each transition. And then finally, for this last transition, I think I want to take this and cut out a little more. So we're going to go like this. Maybe we'll do 2 bars like that. And then we'll bring the vocals back in as well. And then I think I'm going to duplicate that so it hits that one more time. Now let's play that back. And I think I'm going to drop the drums out too. Let's just drop everything out. See how that sounds. And then finally, to glue the whole melody together, I'm going to grab some OTT. I'm going to drag that on my melody group so it processes the whole thing. And then before we do this, I'm going to take my transition effects and we're going to drag those out of the group. And now we're going to drag our OTT amount down to like 30%. Oh yeah. And you can see how that really brightens up the whole melody and makes it a lot tighter. And one final thing I want to do for the verses is grab my EQ that's on the melody group. And I want to filter out the highs a little bit to make it sound like it's underwater. And I'll grab our low pass and slowly bring that back. I'm going to make an automation and slowly open it up in the second hit. And then now I'm going to copy this whole envelope. And then we're going to paste it here. Like that. And then I'm going to copy our intro and drag that all the way to the end. And we'll make that an outro. But I'm going to play the piano chords through the whole thing. And now let's listen to the final beat. If you like this beat, let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to head over to djcontour.com and sign up for the Grim Trap Bundle waitlist to claim your launch day discount. Damn.